I first started reporting on the China-Africa relationship in 2012, before the launch of the Africa Weekly edition. And one of the standout interviews I did at the time was with Meles Zenawi, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, in the Menelik Palace in Addis Ababa. He enlightened me into how African countries actually felt about China's engagement with Africa. But what he said was that the Washington consensus of trying to actually sort of build market economies in Africa had failed. It had failed to deliver successful economies. It failed to deliver sort of the tax revenues to generate the funds for infrastructure. China had this other model which he wanted to encourage in Ethiopia, investing in infrastructure and building a manufacturing base. I think poverty reduction is one of the key issues in Africa. Some 400 million people in Africa live below the poverty line. President Xi's ideas on poverty are quite important. I attended a forum in Addis Ababa last year when the most important talking point there was Xi's book, Up and Out of Poverty, and the ideas contained in that book about self-reliance, getting rid of a poverty mentality, don't go for grandiose schemes, do what you're best at. Those ideas really resonated among many of the sort of African delegates. And really, this is one of the key ideas that she actually brings to the debate in Africa. I think the China-Africa relationship is very much part of emerging markets actually working together, which is a sort of fundamental basis, really, of BRICS. BRICS is an organisation where emerging markets actually try and form economic cooperation. And the BRICS bloc is a substantial one now. I mean, commanding something like 32% of the of global GDP, 50% of global growth. It's an important engine, and the ideas of BRICS, the collaboration of BRICS, will become increasingly important, I think, in a world sort of dominated by ideas of protectionism. BRICS can actually stand up as a beacon of light in that kind of environment. I think is a very big idea and will develop. It's based on traditional sort of Chinese philosophy, ideas about harmony and not having to countries to be uniform. It's also sort of inspired by the Treaty of Westphalia, which was about sort of the European idea of nations working together, and also the spirit of the Bandung Conference in Indonesia in 1955, attended by 29 Asian and African countries, and which came up with the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. It's a philosophy that could actually sort of underpin a new global order, a global order in which countries are not excluded. Africa has a sense of being excluded from the current global order, and I think Xi's idea is a very big one and a very inclusive one.